Happy Wednesday, Wonderland family. This is Miss Brii with Wonderland Performing Arts coming to you with musical theater voice class. So, I have to start off with an apology. I know I said last week that this week would be me and Mr. Colin showing you some fun and cool games, but due to some technical difficulties that I discovered today, me and Mr. Colin will have to re-record all of our videos for you. So we will try to do that for next week so that we make sure that you can hear everything that's going on in the video and they all make sense. So in the place of that, we are going to do something else. We are going to talk about 2 new performance principles and some things. I'm going to show you some things that kind of go with them. So let's go over all of the things that we've talked about so far for our advanced performance principles. We'll review week 1 really quickly since we reviewed it last week, and then we'll review week 2 and jump right into what we're doing today. So week 1, we talked about stressing the first beat you sing on to make sure that your entrances are heard and they make sure that their attention is brought to you when it's your turn to sing. Sticking to your dynamics and making sure that we sing loud and softly when we're supposed to, following with the music or with the dynamics that we chose to help us tell our story and enhance the story. Diction, speaking clearly, emphasizing our consonants and making sure that our T's and D's and B's and P's can be heard very clearly. And projecting to make sure our voice is heard from the nosebleeds. Everybody in the back row should hear what you're hearing, should hear what you're saying just as clearly as everybody in the front row. So making sure we're projecting and can be understood. Sing through your eyes, using that as both a method of conveying emotion and a method of helping you with vocal placement and placing your head voice and your higher registers by singing through your eyes. And playing out to the audience. So making sure that you make big choices and keep the scene really big and visible from the back row. Remember, the people in the back row in the nosebleeds have to know what's going on. So handing somebody a piece of paper turns into, it goes from a small little action of handing someone a piece of paper to, oh, take this paper from me, so that everybody knows what's happening and that if a paper was passed, it was noticed. So that was week 1. Last week, we talked about keeping the scene focused and being alive in your character. And we talked about both of these because they both had a lot to do with each other, right? When you keep the scene focused, it really gives you a chance to come alive in your character, because by coming alive and living as your character, you are focused in that scene and making sure that whatever your character is doing is something that is part of the story. You are part of the storytelling. And so that's what we talked about last week, making sure we don't let ourselves get overwhelmed by the hustle and bustle of what can be going on stage and not letting ourselves get lost. Making sure that we can stay focused, can stay in the story, and can stay in our character. So today, we have more things to talk about when it comes to acting and singing, but we're gonna skip forward and we're gonna talk about the last couple of steps. So the last couple of steps get really fun. So the next one that we're gonna talk about is easy. Enjoy yourself and make friends. Take the opportunity during a show or during auditions or whenever it is to get to know your neighbors. Every single show I have been in, the cast has had a family-like bond. Singing together does that. Singing together brings us together. It makes your heartbeat sync. It causes amazing things that really just form a very close bond between you and the people that you sing and perform with. I still talk to some of the first people I met performing in college every day, because they made that much of an impact on my life. Every show I've been in, I've had the opportunity to meet wonderful people that may bring my next performance opportunity. Meeting someone in one cast, they could be the director of your next show, you know? So you want to make sure that you make friends and make connections, and when there's downtime backstage, you really take the opportunity to get to know all of the wonderful people in your theater community and, you know, make some friends and some connections, and maybe you'll be in another show together. I can name a handful of people that I've probably been in 6 or 7 shows in just because we always audition for the same stuff. And I love seeing their faces every time. I know I have somebody to hang out with that I really love hanging out with. And then our next step is respecting your space and others, making sure that we respect other space. This is really important when we move into dressing rooms and rehearsal spaces and theaters and things like that. We're really going to talk about moving into a dressing room and everything you need to know there, but let's keep going. So your rehearsal space and your performance space should really be a space of respect. You want to make sure you left it cleaner than you found it, and that all of your belongings stay nice and organized so you don't lose any of your belongings or they don't get mixed up in anybody else's. So we're going to talk about respecting your space and others and trying to keep your things tidy. So what things do you need? What are you going to need to keep tidy? So I'm going to pick up my handy dandy bag down here, and we are going to, let's see, I'm going to plug this in. And we are going to go through this bag. I have packed this bag as if I was going to a dressing room today for a show, and while my costume and everything would be at the theater, there are still a lot of personal things that you need to bring along that you could need in hair and makeup or whatever you end up needing to get ready. So I'm gonna unpack this bag with you so that you can see all of the things that I like to keep in my bag. If you have any other suggestions, please add them in the comments down below, because I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff that you like to include in your bag that I might not include in mine. So when it comes to your bag, it might not be a bag, it could be a hamper, it could be a duffel bag, it could be a garbage bag, it could be whatever you want. I have this fun tribal shaped bag that I always like to throw over my shoulder, throw all of my stuff in, and hit the road. So that's the bag that I brought today. So we're gonna start with the basics. So I have a little pocket in my bag, and that's where I keep my makeup. I either have it in a pocket or in a pouch. So you want to make sure, for sure, you have a few of these things. So I don't really have my liquid foundation. I don't use it all the time, but I do use a concealer and a powder foundation. For this stage, I would recommend using a liquid foundation just because it's easier to put on in a flash, and it's definitely more coverage. Just rubbing this on your face does not guarantee that those stage lights aren't going to reflect off of you like a mirror. Having that nice liquid foundation to make it all even, and then putting this on top is perfect. It'll set your face right in place, so no matter how you sweat or no matter if you get wet or whatever happens on stage, your makeup should stay put. So making sure you have a powder and a liquid foundation, or a liquid foundation and any kind of setting powder. It can be the Airspun powder, the little orange one at Walmart. It can be any of those. Airspun is fantastic, and it's only a few dollars, so I would definitely recommend that. Mascara. We always want to make sure we have mascara, and this is for boys and girls. I'm not just talking to girls here. I'm talking to boys and girls. Boys, same thing with the foundation and with the mascara. It makes your eyes pop, and it adds some definition to your eyelashes because you cannot see them from the audience. So it just makes sure that your eyes, you know, look a little bit dramatic on stage and adds some depth, especially after putting on foundation. Sometimes your powder foundation can cover your eyelashes and then you don't have any eyelashes. So that mascara will really help counterbalance that. So I also have concealer and a setting brush because I like to use concealer for some darker spots or some problem spots on my face whenever I am doing my makeup. So that's always an option. I use ColourPop, and it's super cheap. You can get it at Ulta for I think $6, and it works fantastic. It works better than some of the very expensive concealers I've bought in the past. Heavily recommend. And then an eyeliner pencil. I use a liquid pencil. They have gel pencils. They have all kinds of stuff. This was at Target for $4. It's the NYX Epic Liner Pen. This is wonderful. It's a very easy liquid liner pen. You literally just pop it open, draw them on, pop it closed, throw it in your bag. Easy. I like to use really easy and quick stuff in my theater bag. So that's all of my makeup. And then with makeup, we have hair too. So that's where you want to make sure you have hair ties. You can't see them because they're black. Hair ties and bobby pins. I keep my bobby pins in my makeup bag most of the time so that I always have them. Again, this goes for girls and boys. Sometimes you have props or something that's easier if you pin it in your hair, pinning your hat, pinning something like that. Make sure you have bobby pins. Hair ties might not be as valuable to boys, I understand, but sometimes they're still handy to have to hold a fabric together, or if something is too big or whatever happens, they're good to have in case of emergencies. So these are very good things to just have in your bag if you are going to a theater and you know you will be backstage. Let's see, what else do we have in here? Of course, let me get my keys off of my water bottle. I do that so I don't lose them. It's very smart to get stuff that can hook together. Like my water bottle has this cool little hook so I can put my keys on it or anything like that. Make sure you have a refillable water bottle. Plastic water bottles are refillable. You can put more water in them when they're empty, but having a water bottle that you can refill so that you never run out of water is very important. We always want to make sure we stay hydrated backstage and that we have our water on us so we don't get a dry throat or we don't get dehydrated from all the sweating and adrenaline that'll happen when you're on stage. So making sure you have some water, always handy. And then dry snacks like granola bars are really good. Fruit snacks, individually packaged things, so that you can, control the mess. You don't have to worry about clipping a bag closed or anything. You can throw away your trash when you're done. I like to keep granola bars on me because I, have to eat every few hours. I have hypoglycemia, so adrenaline plus nervousness means I need a snack. Especially like nervousness can sometimes make your blood sugar drop, and then you feel kind of weak and shaky and you can get lightheaded, and that'll make you even more nervous before walking on stage. So always having something that you can at least take a bite of backstage is very important. Something like this won't get stuck on your clothes, and all you have to do is put on a quick wrap or a t-shirt or something. I'll show you what I have in a minute so that you don't get it on your costume and you're eating safely, but just so you have something that you can put in your stomach if for whatever reason you get nervous or your stomach starts to bother you. That's where I believe I also threw in Tums for the nervous tummy. I have the most nervous of tummies. So sometimes just to take the edge off of how much my stomach is turning, I'll take one Tums. That's all it takes. And then it doesn't bother me anymore and make me even more nervous that my stomach is gonna hurt and make me forget what to do once I walk on stage. Now, the next one is really up to you. Some people use big t-shirts, some people use bathrobes. I have this really fun little silk robe wrap that I like to wear. You just put it on and then you close it. Boom, now I can eat a snack in my costume and my costume is safe, right? Having something like this, either a big t-shirt or a robe or whatever you decide to wear that you can put over your costume if you do decide to eat a snack like a granola bar, or if you have a late rehearsal and you know that it's dress rehearsal and you're gonna be in rehearsal from 4 to 9 and you gotta eat dinner at some point. If you don't have time to change out of your costume, having something like this is so handy. So you can just throw it on and close it up and you are good to go. Next, we're going to look at a hairbrush, the regular things that you need to make sure you're ready to go on stage and get your look together. And then the hottest commodity of 2020. You can use Kleenex too. This is just what I had handy. I don't have Kleenex boxes laying around. And sometimes I have an individually packed little thing of Kleenex, but for the most part, this works. For if you have a spill, if you blow your nose, if whatever happens, if there's no toilet paper in the dressing room bathroom. That happens sometimes. It just depends on who the cleaning crew of the theater is and blah, blah, blah. There are lots of things. And you have to use the bathroom at intermission. Are you gonna hold it? Or would you like to have your own toilet paper? Exactly. Bringing your own toilet paper is just the safest way to make sure, A, you have toilet paper, and B, if anything happens, like you got a runny nose or a bloody nose or whatever happens, you're covered. And then the rest of the stuff in here is kind of extras. Here's one that I like to make sure I keep with me. This is all of my Band-Aids and Q-tips. I keep them in a little closing container, a little pouch. I have Q-tips and Band-Aids for whatever I might need, whether it be makeup removing or if I fall down and skin my knee on stage, I want to make sure that I can keep going. Ooh, an extra pair of tights. Ooh, tangled up in my robe. An extra pair of tights. Making sure that you keep extras of whatever is yours that you're wearing for the show. So not your costume that's being provided, but your tights, making sure that your shoes are always in a safe place. I didn't put any shoes in here because I know sometimes we're given shoes or we just wear our character shoes. That's very important to keep in this bag, is your character shoes. And an extra pair of tights. So if you accidentally rip your tights, or if anything happens, even if you have to change them in intermission, or if you never use them and you just have a set for the next show, it's always nice to have an extra set of tights. Again, boys and girls, you will end up having to wear a pair of tights at some point. So having an extra pair is very handy. And then way at the bottom down here, I believe fell some makeup wipes. So I know this one looks funny because it's an individually packaged makeup wipe, but makeup wipes will be your saving grace at the end of the night. When you're tired of the goose that's painted on your face, or whether you just have foundation in your hairline and down your face and you're ready for it to be over, it's the easiest thing to really just, take a breath, take a weight off of your shoulders after rehearsal when you unwind. Taking your makeup off can be one of the most relaxing and relieving feelings after a very long rehearsal in costume. So that is my bag. Another suggestion is a change of clothes. I had wanted to put that in my bag, but I had suggested a show shirt, and I couldn't put a show shirt in my bag because I'm wearing my only show shirt from the Aristocats that Wonderland put on a little over a year ago. So I would definitely recommend bringing an extra change of clothes. Normally the clothes that you wear to the theater, you can wear home too because you put on a costume in between. So if you just want to do that, that works too. I sometimes like to keep a fresh set of clothes, or if I know that we're gonna go eat after, I throw a pair of jeans in my bag. So you know, just being prepared and having all of your stuff so that you know you've got everything covered and can keep everything in your bag for you to use and to keep everything organized. When we're respecting our space, we're respecting others' space too, right? So if my stuff is spread out along 3 stations, then I'm not really respecting the people who are trying to use those 2 other stations. Even if there aren't enough people in the cast to be using all of the stations, you still want to make sure you keep your stuff tidy so that nothing gets lost, and so that we respect the rehearsal space as a whole, or the performance space as a whole. And just making sure that, you know, we're treating our friends and surroundings with respect, picking up our trash, cleaning up spills and stuff like that. We want to make sure that our theater community feels taken care of, and the best way to do that is to make sure that our spaces are clean and feel welcoming when a new cast comes in to make their own magic. So that's about all I have for the bag. So that's about all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it kind of gave you a little bit of insight of what to throw in your bag for your next performance. I hope that you have some more ideas of what you like to throw in. Please leave a comment down below if you have any suggestions or anything that I forgot. I'd love to hear from you and see if there's anything that you think is essential for your getting ready and all of that during a show. Well, I guess this means I'll see you guys next week. There will be a very fun video from me and Mr. Colin of some games for you to play and all of that, so I hope you tune in and get to see that. And this is Miss Brii from Wonderland Performing Arts, signing off from Musical Theater Voice Class. Bye, you guys. Stay safe.